Welcome to the Lowcountry Revolutionaries, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of Charleston, South Carolina's vibrant entrepreneurial scene. I'm your host, Bill Bellott, founder of Veritas Exoscience, and each week we're spotlighting the boldest innovators from the Chucktown startup community. These are the visionaries pouring their heart and soul into the businesses that are transferring Charleston into a global hub of creativity and American ingenuity. Get ready for raw, real conversations with the trailblazers shaping our city's future. Let's dive in. Well, I'd like to welcome Courtney Lohmann, who's a strategist, consultant, and keynote speaker with over 25 years of experience helping organizations align environmental and social sustainability goals with business strategy. As the founder of the Courtney Lohmann Consulting, she specializes in creating purpose-driven frameworks that empowers teams, drive innovation, and deliver measurable impact. Hey, Courtney, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, Bill. So happy to be here with you.
Yes, me too. I've been looking forward to talking to you. There's so many interesting things you do. You're like a keynote speaker, and you've done a TED Talk and all these things. Tell me how did you get to that? What was your journey?
So I guess in some ways I'll tell it and we'll backtrack on part of it because it's kind of interesting how it's all evolved. So I came out of college with my degree actually had a focus on special events. So cool. I was in kind of this first wave of people that actually intentionally became event planners. Whereas the industry itself was like made up of people that sort of randomly ended up planning events, right? Like it was all these like twisty roads to get there. And I was really excited about it and started my career in large outdoor festivals and concerts, like big 5K runs and walks, things like that, which was a lot of fun. But, the hours were really crazy. You're contending with weather all the time. There were a lot of things with it. So after it was 5 or 6 years, I moved into the world of corporate events. So I joke that I moved inside, that I just kind of like switched my skills.
Yeah.
And I spent many years in that space. And I always found it funny when my coworkers would get stressed. I'm like, what's there to be stressed about? We're inside a ballroom, inside a building with all this staff to help. Like there's
you're
nothing
in a Marriott or a Hilton, there's a bar downstairs. We're not outside in the woods somewhere, guys.
Like what's really going to go wrong? Like the whole building loses power. There's nothing you can do. Like,
exactly.
So that was always like kind of funny. And then from there, I moved into kind of a particular space within corporate events. And at that stage, when I kind of made that move, I also jumped into the space of sustainability and just got really interested around how we could take this world of events that has historically been a very wasteful, you're setting up something temporary. So naturally with that comes a lot of almost like the idea of single-use waste.
Yeah, paper plates everywhere, right?
I have a whole story in my keynote that talks about my trash elephant and standing next to a giant dumpster that's overflowing with trash. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy. So, it was like, I got to a point in my career, I was about 14, 15 years into my career, and I just had sort of like hit that ceiling of I can't participate in that any longer. And so that's where I found this movement within the industry around sustainability and how to really change what events look like.
Wow.
And that just totally re-energized me. I got really excited about it and really kind of carved my career path from that point forward. And, at some point I was leading a lot of industry initiatives and things. And so I started to speak at industry events. And that's where I'll backtrack a little. The funny story there is I remember being approached and then someone saying, can you, are you comfortable like being on stage? Can you come and speak at an event? And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, sure, no problem. I can do that. Sure. And they're like, well, have you ever done it before? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I emceed pep assemblies in high school and there were like 3,000 people at the gym. I was like, how hard can it be? Like,
sure, I can do this.
Yeah. it's like this funny thing around how I started speaking, because everyone, even now, people are like, oh my gosh, you're a keynote speaker. Oh, that you're just so brave. And I think to myself, like, I've kind of been doing it forever. Like I never really thought about it as being this, big thing. So in 2023, I decided to leave that corporate space and bust out on my own and start my consulting business and my keynote speaking. And that came from that place of I really wanted to extend my reach. I wanted to be able to impact more businesses and help more organizations set up these goals and initiatives around sustainability. And then the keynote speaker space is I find it really inspiring, to spend time with an audience and present them with a strategy and some inspiration around how they can create impact with whatever it is that they're doing in their lives. That interaction is just so much fun, and it's so energizing for me. So it's, like, in some ways I look at that piece of what I do as this, the really fun.
That's the
not
fun
that
part,
the consulting isn't fun, but like the keynote speaking is just so much fun. It's such a different kind of interaction, and I love it to no end. So that's kind of how I've landed here where I am today.
That's really cool. Yeah, I totally feel what you're saying. It's like, I do consulting. That's my main business. But this podcast thing, this is sort of the fun thing, and getting to talk to people and hearing their stories and learning from them and sharing stuff. So that's, that's really cool. It's like I've done other podcasts where, it was focused on inspiring kids to get into science and engineering. And that was like, really, that's what hooked me into the podcasting. It's like, hey, this is cool. I talked to one of the astronauts that flew the space shuttle. I mean, so you just never know who you'll talk to. So I love doing this.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. And so then it probably, like, at least it does for me, then it inspires my other work too, right? So like
exactly,
the one thing kind of inspires your consulting stuff as well. So yeah, it makes for a super fun blend in terms of what I get to spend, what my brain gets to do on a day-to-day basis.
So it sounds like you have more of like for your consulting, you sound like you have more of a national kind of focus. You work with people all around the country, or do you mainly work with folks in the Charleston area, or is it even international? Where are you right now with things?
Well, I have quoted international businesses, but I have yet to contract one. So I can say I'm an international speaker because I've spoken in a couple of different countries. I am not yet an international consultant, but yes, fingers crossed, maybe one day. I haven't. So I've only been in Charleston. It's a little less than 3 years.
Okay.
And so I'm really like this past, really for 2025 or so is when I've been digging in more to the Charleston community and finding more of the organizations, kind of like the Chucktown startups and whatnot, like more of these organizations that I can meet people and network and learn from and what have you. And so I have thrown some proposals out to businesses here in Charleston, but again, yet to win any of that business. So a lot of my business has been, abroad across the US, but no, very willing and ready to work with people here or in any other place. The beauty, I would say, of the sustainability consulting is you're not constricted really by anything. So the conversations apply to every kind of business, and the conversations apply to every region in the world. So.
Absolutely. I think of it from an engineering mindset of how can you be more efficient, whether you call it sustainability or something else. But I have to ask you, because you brought it up, why Charleston? I'm new to Charleston too. I've only been here since 2021. Why did you come to Charleston? Family, the community, the culture, what was it?
Okay, so the part of the answer is I am just naturally very adventurous.
Oh, cool.
I have lived, oh gosh, now I don't remember. Is it 6 states? I think I've lived in 6 different states in the US. No, wait, 5 states, 5 different states in the US. I don't even know how many addresses within those states I've had, but it's been many.
Yes.
And was living in South Florida, made a move to a kind of a smaller town area in Georgia, and just really it just like I missed being by the coast, and
Right.
I missed the like lifestyle that the coast offers. I'm originally from Chicago, so
Okay.
I knew I had already half backed, right? I don't know if you've heard the term before, but you tease when you go to South Florida. I lived in South Florida for a while, and
Yeah.
then I half backed because
Yeah.
this is the line. I can't go above the line,
You can't go
right?
by where the snow
No,
is.
yeah. Yeah, I can't go. Yeah, the snow. It snowed when it snowed here this past winter.
Oh
It was
yeah, I know.
hilarious.
It's like,
Like,
what the
yeah,
heck?
yeah, it was so fun. So, but anyway, so came over to Charleston to visit. Had only really been here one other
Oh
time
wow.
for like 36 hours.
Yeah.
And I came over here and really just fell in love with everything that the area has to offer. I love that it has this big city feel, but it's really a small city.
Right.
I love all of the environmental pieces of the area. So, like the low country with the marshes and the water and the
Yes.
hiking and the birds and the wildlife and what have you, and then all the water that's here and the beach. I'm an avid water skier,
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
I'm out at Trophy Lake skiing, and then now that now living here, I bought a surfboard, so now I'm out on Folly and I'm back to surfing, which has been a lot of fun. So it was the right feel and fit.
Right.
And then the fun thing is so I had a job when I moved here, and I was able to work from anywhere, but I launched my business from here. And so now, as I've been like learning more about all the entrepreneurs that are in the area,
Right.
and there are quite a few like environmental sustainability groups, and so I started to just network, and it's just been this really fun way to open doors and meet people and learn more about the area. And so I'm just loving it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I sort of feel like the same thing. It's like, the environment is like a big deal for people that are native to South Carolina. They enjoy the environment here, and they're very
Yeah.
protective of it too. So it's like, it has that balance where you have people who love going fishing and people who want to protect the trees here and keep the natural beauty, and all of those people work together. And it's
Yeah.
Charleston is, I always say, is sort of this eccentric mix of people who are very supportive of each other. And it's an exciting place to be right now because, like you said, there's so many startups, entrepreneurs and stuff trying different things.
Yeah. I agree. It is such an interesting mix of people supporting one another, and supporting that, really all of those different types of local initiatives, whatever
Right.
those may be,
Right.
but it is like I love the focus on preservation here, the focus
Yes.
on environment here, the focus on supporting all of the different local businesses here. It is so unique to anywhere else I've ever been in those ways. And it's almost like it's like the warm blanket effect, right? Like
Yes.
you feel good about being here and then supporting others that are here.
Yeah, I had another guest, and he described it as this is Goldilocks. It's just right,
Yeah, it's just right. That's a
yeah.
great way to say it. I love it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I had another guest. He was saying, he heard this, I think, and he attributed it to I think the College of Charleston. I think is where it originated. They're calling it Silicon Harbor. In
No
sort of like
way.
Silicon Valley in California back in the day. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's that kind of vibe that's going on, but also with the vibe of shrimp and grits mixed in with that.
Right. I know, right? That's cool. I love the Silicon Harbor too. That's a good reference.
Yeah, it's
So
really
fun.
nice. So, where do you see, you taking your business? It's like, do you see like, growing, it sounds like you want to grow and be like an international presence and help people with this. And, you say sustainability, how far do you go with that? Do you get in and help each company sort of figure out the stuff, or do you also help with the implementation of it? Where's your line for doing your consulting?
Yeah. So where I see myself going, I really I would say it's just expanding and working with as many different types
Right.
of organizations as I can. I'm not looking to build a big agency. Like that's not the direction I want to go.
Right.
It's really I'm hoping to stay pretty small, like just me kind of a thing. In terms of what I focus on, I'm really I've like in the last 2 or so years, I've really started to niche even more. I've
Nice.
expanded my network of other sustainability experts that are out there, which has been really fun.
Right.
And it's been interesting to understand how so many of us have really, because the umbrella of sustainability is so big. You're talking
Right.
environmental,
I
social,
know. That's why
governance, like
I had to
all
ask
the
you, like,
things.
sustainability is a big word, and
Yeah.
people kind of think of it in different ways, even though they're saying the same word. So I need to understand,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah, and so and under right, so now under that big umbrella, it's like where you can't really be an expert in it all.
No.
It's so hard to do, and as the industry of it, quote unquote industry of it, has evolved, you've started to see people really specialize into lanes. And so where I'm really suited best is on that front end of helping companies understand how to implement a strategy.
Nice.
What happens mostly when I start working or talking with businesses is that they have their normal company operations and their normal goals and objectives, and then way over here out to the side, it's in like left field, they're like, and we're doing this, these little things over here related
Right.
to maybe
Right.
an environmental cause.
Right.
And I'm like, that's great, I love it, but
But
they need to be blended together. And so I really come in and help those organizations really identify what it is they want to accomplish, and then help them align it into their normal business operation. And then
right.
through that, coaching them through the process of, this is how you really start to create impact. This is how you can build a
Mm.
program. You know, these are the policies and procedures you need. This is how we write a sustainability policy. I do a
Yes.
lot of like there are 3 pillars of sustainability.
Oh,
These are
nice.
your environmental initiatives or your people initiatives or what have you. And then I do some workshop training as well. So depending on how
Oh,
they
yeah.
want to roll things out to their team. And then for the most part, I kind of back away.
Yes.
So can I help people with implementation? Absolutely. And I have, but I'm really trying to stay more on that front end.
Yeah.
And then I don't get into the data side of things. So carbon tracking, waste tracking, that's a
Yes.
whole nother thing.
But what you're doing is super valuable, because I've seen exactly what you've described, is where whether it's an environmental initiative or any other initiative, is set over here on the side. And
Yep.
when things get tough in every business, those things on the side, they just get cut or forgotten. And so if you
Yeah.
don't integrate that into your core value set, your core things that your business does, they're really kind of a nice to haves, and that's all it is. And sometimes people, I'm sure you're really helping them see where's the opportunities in this that's going to make their business grow and be better. That's what I would think would be the key, right?
Oh, it's 100% the key. As soon as you kind of step back and you allow yourself the time to think about it and blend this together and really holistically put a strategy in place, what you realize is that it's not expensive like you thought it was going to be.
That's good.
There's definitely things that cost money, but that's anytime you're changing or implementing something at your business, right? But what you start to see is that there's ways to align so that it doesn't really cost you more, and potentially it's cost savings. And then you also start to see a whole different kind of engagement. So from an internal employee standpoint, things all start to click and it makes sense. And they're
Wow.
like, oh, this is what we're doing. This isn't so hard. Now it's a part of my process. It's super easy. And then usually from that external stakeholder standpoint, things start to click. You change how you talk through your marketing and how you tell your story, and then your clients or audience or what have you starts to understand more about who your business is and the why behind your business. And then things just they become like gelled together as one.
Oh, cool.
And then you see success, and then with that success you can build on your program in a much different way year over year.
Right.
So when sustainability is over here, I joke it's like you're just throwing wet paper towel at the wall and you have no idea if it's working,
Right.
and no way to really get people to grab onto it, right? And then when you put it into your strategy, you realize how valuable it actually is.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what would you give as advice to entrepreneurs sort of in a similar situation as yourself, starting up here in the Charleston area?
Oh, what advice I would say? First of all, anybody considering starting their own business, just start. That's my thing. I feel like I was told that for years, and I just was, for probably a plethora of different reasons, hesitant. And then I started, and 3 months in, I was like, well, this was silly. I should have done this years ago. So for the group that's listening to this and they're like, I don't know if I should, the answer is you should just do it.
Nice.
And then for anyone that's in it and getting their feet wet and looking for like maybe the next best thing to help themselves, I would say get out there and network with some of the different groups that are here in Charleston. I have met just so many interesting and cool entrepreneurs, especially other like single people like me, one person business owners, no employees, that kind of a thing, that it's just nice to sit across the table from someone and have a conversation and be like, oh, you're struggling with that too. Right. That's amazing. I feel so much better. So, find your people here, find that little bit of a network, even if it's just 2 or 3 people. It's just so helpful as you're getting on your feet. So that would be my other one.
That's awesome. And I can almost guarantee, and as a scientist, I don't guarantee you anything, but I can almost guarantee you 100%. You will find someone to be your people here in Charleston. We have such a wide variety of people from all over the world and all sorts of backgrounds. You can find your people here.
I agree. It is a good statement to make. I 100% would agree with that.
Well, it was a pleasure having you today, Courtney, and it's great talking to you. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Ditto. This was great, Bill. Thanks so much for having me on.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Lowcountry Revolutionaries. Thanks for joining us as we celebrate the fearless entrepreneurs making wave in Charleston's Chucktown Startups community. I'm Bill Bellot, and it's been an honor to share these inspiring stories with you. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs a spark of low country innovation. Until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.